As many of you know, my mother-in-law, Betty, has experienced her last birthday, her last summer, her last hug from a grandchild. And just a few hours ago, she experienced her last breath. Adrian and the family have been with her this past week, and she has been oh so peaceful. And for those of us who love her, this means so much, because during her life, Betty's love for us often resulted in worry for her. She worried that her oldest son was alone in Japan. She worried that Adrian and I had taken on too much. She worried that Neil or Graham had worked too much. And so we were grateful. Grateful that her last breath was taken not in a state of worry, but in the deep peace of sleep. It is as Jesus said, we cannot change the future by worrying. And I know this because just last night I tried worrying this sermon into a masterpiece. But I fell into pieces instead. Frazzled, frayed, frenetic. Worrying gives us none of the beauty described by Jesus in Matthew 6. Consumed by the past that we cannot change and the future we hope will never come, the music of the birds are drowned out by the pounding of our hearts. The gorgeous pinks and purples and oranges of the lilies are no match for our all-consuming, salient concerns that make us myopic and afraid. In those moments, we can feel lost, far from God, and far from any sense of God's abundant kingdom. We're trapped in a world of scarcity where past mistakes, instead of God's grace, defines us. Where thoughts of the disastrous future threaten our peaceful present. And these are the moments we would do best to follow the advice of the poet David Wagoner and stand still. Stand still. Stand still. The trees and bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is here. And you must treat it as a powerful stranger, must ask permission to know and be known. To know and be known in the moment is to turn our worry into wonder. But turning worry into wonder is not an easy practice. But it does appear to be the only practice that frees us from the insanity of thinking that our worry can add a single thing that is useful to our lives. And when we turn from worry towards open curiosity, attentiveness, deeper revelations emerge. The power and the possibility of the present reveals itself. Stand still. Treat this moment as a powerful stranger. Ask permission to know and be known. But standing still is hard, isn't it? Eve Ensler, writer of the Vagina Monologues, and yes, I think that's the first time vagina's been said from this pulpit, speaks of the drive towards the perfect, that drive towards the perfect that creates a perpetual dissatisfaction within our bodies and with our own lives. The Brad and Angelina effect that makes us think that there might be more of a perfect life for us if we just lost 20 pounds, bought the right kind of jeans, could find scriptwriters to write witty lines for us. I lived in the concrete city, where I could see no sky, sunsets, or stars, writes Eve Ensler. I moved at the pace of engines, and it was faster than my own breath. I became a stranger to myself and to the rhythms of the earth. I aggrandized my alien identity by wearing black, and I felt superior to it all. My body was a burden to me. I saw it as something unfortunate that I had to maintain, and I had little patience with its needs. But all of that changed when Eve's body developed cancer. Hospitalized for months, pricked, punctured, cut, scanned, Eve was forced to inhabit her body, to discover that she was, first and foremost, a body. Descartes used to say, "I think, therefore I am," but from her hospital bed, Eve would chant, "I feel, oh, I feel, therefore I am." Too weak to write, to call, or even watch TV, Eve turned her attention to the tree outside her window. Hermann Hesse said that the trees are the most penetrating preachers around. They are sanctuaries, and whoever knows how to speak to the trees, whoever knows how to listen to the trees, can learn the truth. Stand still. Treat this moment as a powerful stranger. Ask permission to know and be known. But Eve did not know how to speak to trees. She feared she would go mad from boredom with only this tree for company. In America, Eve explains, all values lie in the future, in dream, in production. There is no present tense. There is no value in what is now, only in what might be made or exploited from what already is. Of course, the same was true for me, she went on to say. I had no inherent value. Without work or effort, without making myself into something significant, without proving my worth, I had no right or reason to be here. Life itself, it was inconsequential, unless it led to something, unless the tree could be wood, would be house, would be table. What value would there be in the tree? But slowly, the tree began to teach her. And one day she noticed the intricacies of its bark, and a few days later the green leaves shimmered in the late afternoon sun, and soon she discovered she could be lost for hours in a conversation with the tree. She began to think of the tree as a tonic, a cure, a guru, and a teaching. Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger, must ask permission to know it and be known. Eve was eventually discharged from the hospital, but an infection forced her to return to the very hospital room where her tree embraced her once more. And she heard from the tree the very same lessons Jesus is teaching us using lilies and birds. They do not labor or spin, and yet God provides in love for them. So we too are invited to let go of what robs us of life, be it the ruminations of the past, the anxiety of the future, to settle into the unearned gift of this moment in time. Wow. We are alive in this moment in time. To trust in a God who does not measure your worth or mine by our achievements. The poet Lynn Unger asks, "And you, what of your rushed and useful life?" Imagine setting it all down. Papers, plans, appointments, everything, and leaving only a note, "Gone to the fields to be lovely. Be back when I'm through with blooming." By the end of Eve's second hospital stay, the tree outside her window blossomed into white flowers that made her feel as if she had been reborn. I wonder what might happen to us, to me, to you, if we found some time this week to watch the squirrels gathering winter seeds, enjoy colored leaves drifting to the green grass, to talk with a tree or two. I do know that wherever you find yourself this week, God is there. In the lapses of our breathing, in the cracks between the stars, in the mystery of our hunger, and the desert of our dreams. God is there. So stand still. Take note. Be known and know that you are blessed. Amen.